Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of AniBreak, the show that breaks down the week's hottest topics in anime, manga, and video games. My name's Jason, and you may notice I have some wings here. No, I'm not trying to go good. There's no way that's ever freaking gonna happen with me. No, actually, I met a bunch of you guys at Anime Expo over this past weekend, had an absolute blast doing so. And if you guys are longtime viewers and you're in the chat, you guys might remember Kathy the Goth. And she was talking about for months, like, Jason, we need to meet up, and I'm going to make you something. And that turned into wings. And then she gave me these wings, which I decided to put on during my panel, the Ultimate Geek Showdown, which we'll get to near the end of the show. And I was going to thought, okay, yeah, it'd be cool. I'll wear them during the panel. It would be amazing. I'll wear them around con. Why not? If you guys have followed me throughout the years, you've known I've worn some crazy stuff, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But I felt so bad because in putting it on, like I got the right arm in just fine, and then the left arm got actually stuck on my my watch face, which snapped the string, so it just broke in the middle of the panel. Everyone's watching. I have it recorded, and I felt like crap. So after apologizing left, right, and center, I told her that A, I would not only would fix them, but B, I would wear them on at least one show. And I'm sure I'll probably wear these many more times in the future, either on sites at a convention or just on AniBreak. So that's why you see them there. And thank you very much to Kathy the Goth. This episode is going to be all about Anime Expo 2013. I know most of you were there. I was only there for the first 3 days. Reason being for that, given the fact that the LA Convention Center parking has gone up significantly this year. Past years it's been about $12 to $15 a day. This year it was $20, so I couldn't afford to come back on day 4 just for one panel. So, oh well. I was able to get a ton finished within those first 3 days. 4 if you consider day 0. But it was a hell of a lot of fun. Before we get to all the industry announcements, I just want to give a quick op-ed on, my view about how my time was at AX. It was interesting starting day 0, just for the fact that, you've worked at convention for years. You know the place like the back of your hand. You know all the back exits. You know everybody. So, of course, when you're an attendee, of course, you want to say hi to everybody and say hi to your friends and whatnot. Kind of had some problems with that in certain areas. As my dogs are going crazy. So, I mean, that was fun just walking around a bit. And then I know it wasn't just me, but especially on days 2 and 3, not so much on day 1, it seemed like it was line con like I've never seen before at an Anime Expo, save for registration. And the reason for that was, I think the first tally was 61,000 attendees this year. That's a jump of, everybody say it with me, over 9,000 attendees from last year. I'm trying to figure out if there's one such piece that actually pushed that extra 9,000 attendees, and I can't think of one. I mean, it was a bunch of smaller things like, Porno Graffiti and having Production IG, the higher ups there. And of course, Anime Expo does a pretty decent job of having a wide assortment of guests. So, from cosplayers to heads of industry, if you were a fan of any of that, there was something there for you. So, you do have all those options there. I'm sure that definitely helped out with that. Walking through the rooms, it's same old. Main events was a little grandiose. I do like the extra wide main screen. Took 6 projectors to get that screen up. It looked quite nice, actually. The events that I came across, the typical guest of honor panels were a lot of fun, albeit some were aggravating, but not because of the guests themselves. And I'm sure I'm not the only one here, that when people get in line to ask their idols something, there's always a good chance you're going to have some really good questions, and you're going to go back and forth. You may even learn a couple things you did not know about that person. But then every once in a while, you hear those questions just makes you face palm from the far back of the room. there was more than a few of those, so I was just like, I'll just keep quiet about that. But everyone's entitled to their own question. Going back to the whole LineCon thing, because of the massive popularity and the massive spike in attendance, when AxeCon set up like these extra rooms for queuing, it seemed like they were just pushing cattle into a room, and some panels even had to go through 2 or 3 rooms plus an outside line just to get everyone who wanted to get to a panel at least in line. And at that point, some of them didn't even make it in the rooms. Case in point, I know the LP4, the little theater, room 411, has a very small capacity, but they had some pretty amazing panels in there. And the lines would be starting at the outdoors 411, which is between the 2 halls, all the way out to almost near the exhibit hall. And I'm like, wow, it's crazy. Now, there were also some ticketed events. I actually hung out for a little bit checking out Myth, the Magic/Burlesque show, which was a lot of fun. I knew a bunch of people in there. It was cool to see some of the other ticketed events that were actually free, just had to have a ticket. There was AMVs. AMVs were AMVs. I did not see masks just because I have nothing against cosplayers whatsoever. I love to see cosplayers. I love to see how much effort they put into their outfits, but I am not willing to sit in a room for 4 hours to look at cosplay. I can do that at home on the internet, and I can be comfortable, and I can have iced tea, and I can just relax. Yeah, so I did not go to Masquerade. But that being said, the exhibit hall itself was pretty insane. I did not even try to get in the exhibit hall on day 1 because I heard of the chaos and just the massive sea of people trying to get in when it first opened up on day 1. You can go online, you can see all these videos. There's a couple actually long exposure videos out there, and or time lapse I should state, and it's absolutely incredible. Now once you finally got in, all the major industry booths were up front, and then of course you had all your booths selling all your favorite gadgets, anime, manga, whatever. In the back they had Artist Alley and a large number of them, and of course on the right hand side they had all the autographs. It's a de facto layout that AX has done for a while, and it works. It just seemed, because with that extra 9,000 attendees, the aisles seemed a bit more cramped than previous years. That's just me, but or it could be not just me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. But I have to say, some of the industry booths were spectacular. Everything from the One Piece booth. If you're a big One Piece fan, I spent a good amount of time over there. It was cool seeing Crunchyroll they had the largest booth at Anime Expo, and of course they were live streaming. They had several DJs streaming there throughout the convention, so that was a cool little feature there. Although I have to say, the company that had the best looking booth, I have to say far and beyond, was Sentai Filmworks. It just looked so clean, so slick. It had numerous points for photo opportunities. It just worked so well, and I think they kind of added a very large cherry to the top of their cake by if you guys happen to go outside the South Hall lobby during Anime Expo, Sentai decided to roll out something that would help them promote their latest acquisition, which is Girls und Panzer, which is all about middle school girls driving around tanks in war games. So what better way to promote that than let's freaking roll in an actual tank. I would never expect anything like that at Anime Expo. E3 maybe, but not AX. It was an absolute blast seeing that. The cosplay girls, they were up on the tank themselves. It was a sense of astonishment on everyone's faces when they first saw it. It was massive props to Sentai on that. Didn't have much more to say with Exhibit Hall, for the sole fact that because I was such a tight budget, I made sure to hide my wallet from myself to make sure to not buy anything in there. Although the temptation was there time and time again. But even when you weren't in the exhibit hall, if you just go out to the South Hall lobby, of course you had the AX merch booth, and then right next to it, a new bit this year was the Mirai Mart, all of Danny Chu's stuff. And Danny, great guy. He massively underestimated the popularity of not only his brand, but all the stuff that he brought, all the Moikana, Moikanji, the all the shirts that he was planning to sell. He only brought like maybe enough for like 1,000 people. He was sold out of almost everything by the beginning of day 2. Think that's going to have to change for future conventions. But the booth was actually really cool. I took a couple pictures and posted online. If you guys were following me on Twitter, OtakuLife Jason, you might have noticed that I started using Vine over the weekend because I knew there were several things that just taking a picture wouldn't do it justice. So if you haven't followed me on Twitter, OtakuLife Jason's right down there, and just scroll back down and you'll see a bunch of Vines from me walking around the main event stage, checking out the giant screen, walking around exhibit hall, checking out some epic cosplay. I got a close-up of the work in progress brand new Black Rock shooter character that character designer Huke was working on during his panel. That was a blast to see. But let's just get into actually some of the industry announcements. As you know, because Anime Expo is North America's largest convention, a lot of the major American anime industry companies will save some of their larger announcements for this time frame. Although it kind of seems like they're starting to spread it out a little more, but that's fine. They still had some great announcements. Let's start off actually with Funimation. Just a few things here and there. They are going to be streaming Danganronpa and Brothers Conflict on their website, Funimation.com. There is an option to actually watch it for free, but there are commercials, or you can pay $7 a month, become a part of their, I think it's Elite subscriber program, and then you can get them in high def and commercial free, and it looks quite nice that way. They have a slew of titles coming to Blu-ray very soon, including Black Lagoon, Roberta's Blood Trail, Season 2 of Haganai, Erika 7 AO, High School DxD, and Guilty Crown. Now, Funimation actually premiered the first 4 episodes of Guilty Crown with English dub. And I actually sat in and watched all 4 episodes, and I was very surprised. I was very pleasantly surprised. And the reason for that was confirmed right after the screening, was that Funimation has always used like the same 10 or 15 major names, major voice actors and actresses to replay all these major roles that we know. We know them just by the voice. We can almost name every single character a single voice actor has done for Funimation, and there's a lot. This one, not only were the voices pretty accurately portrayed, as compared to the Japanese dub, but they were voices of voice actors and actresses that I didn't instantly recognize. And they confirmed that they actually have a slew of brand new voice talent that will be working on all these new Blu-ray dub releases for over the next year. So I'm really happy to hear that. I've been waiting for an expansion of the voice talent, and now Funimation's bringing that. I'm usually, like I said, I've said time and time again, I will give English dubs a shot, but I will prefer the Japanese dub. That being said, I can't even say that I will just stand watching Guilty Crown in English. I will actually enjoy watching Guilty Crown in English. Now, if you were worried that the all the music would be, redubbed, while they actually did redub all the songs in English due to some, licensing thing or whatnot, they could not use it. So on the Blu-ray, even though speaking voices are all in English, all the singing voices are all in Japanese, which that's the way I like it. So you guys can check that one out. As Nightstar brings up in the chat, there's also in the video rooms a tradition of sorts that you should check out at least once a year at Anime Expo. This year was on day 1. It's Laserdisc Night, where they had a 6-hour time slot where members of the as we call the VTech community. The staffers work in the rooms. They've been doing it for years. Tight knit group of friends. A lot of them actually have a pretty significant anime laserdisc collection, and I've gone through them time and time again. I've been incredibly jealous of them because there's some amazing laserdiscs that they have, and they bring a bunch of them to the Anime Expo and just play a bunch of them on the big screen, and it's an absolute. It's so much fun. You guys really need to check it out next year if you did not get a chance to see it this year. Make some time out of your schedule for next year. I'm sure it will be back. Even if it's an hour, you want to go check it out. I went to go check it out with Anime Manga Antagonist from the chat. We actually hung out a little bit on day one. And I got him hooked on it was the OVA of the Vampire Princess Miu. Not the TV series, because that was later, but the actual OVA. And I've seen him numerous times. I love it. AMA never saw it before, and he was hooked after episode 1. So it is tons of fun. You may be able to watch something that you've really enjoyed back in the day, or you may find something that you might have missed, you never even knew about, and then you'll instantly go, now I have to add it to my collection. Now I have to go find it. Now I have to go buy a Laserdisc player and Laserdiscs. It is a ton of fun. You guys need to check it out. Other stuff for Funimation real quick. They were working on Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is basically HD remaster, shortened version of Dragon Ball Z. But for those of you who appreciate and remember the old school original broadcast version with the original Canadian English dub, good news. They're actually going to release Dragon Ball Z Rock the Dragon box set, which is the original broadcast edition, 53 episodes plus the first 3 movies, all in one giant box set. That's pretty cool. They also mentioned about the Ghost in the Shell Arise, the limited edition version, because while Funimation has the rights to actually release this OVA series stateside with an English dub, which they are working on, they are going to release a limited edition at the beginning fairly soon. That's the subtitled only import version. Only 2,500 will be available, and damn well know I'm going to be part of that. A couple other things. They announced the English dub for Blood Sea, The Last Ark, and Wolf Children. By the way, if you're going to Otakon, you're going to want to check out Wolf Children. Not only is it an amazing movie, but Funimation will be premiering the English dub there. And they also finally wrapped it up with, they acquired Howl, which is a Studio Wit production about a girl who decided to replace her dead boyfriend with a robotic doppelganger. Kind of weird. I'm gonna check it out. They also picked up 009 Re-Cyborg and the new Hyperdimension Neptunia, the animation, so you guys can look forward to those. Finally, they did actually release a video. This wasn't during the panel, but it was actually available online, and it was kind of cool. There is a series that kind of flew under the radar here in the States when it first came out, called Michiko to Hatchin, or just Michiko and Hatchin. It's kind of hard to describe, I'm just going to play this trailer, and Funimation, when they released this trailer, stated that this is going to be the English dub. This is well worth your time for a number of reasons, and I'll tell you about those why after the video. As Neo Cat in the chat states, it looks very Cowboy Bebop, like, which makes sense because it was produced by Studio Manglobe, which actually worked on the original Cowboy Bebop and or worked on Samurai Champloo, Ergo Proxy. There are people who worked on Cowboy Bebop, like Shinichiro Watanabe is actually I believe the music director for this series, and the soundtrack's amazing. I actually imported it. Sayo Yamamoto, which is he directed the recent Lupin the Third Woman Called Fujiko Mine series. This was his directorial debut. And essentially you have the super sexy criminal Michiko and the abused runaway little girl Hutchin. They team up to cross the lawless frontier. Each are looking for men from their past. You know, the little girl's looking for her father, and she's looking for several people. We won't get into that. It's an absolute blast. One of the best parts about it, it's 22 episodes long. None of this 13 episode season BS. This is really good stuff. You guys want to check this out. The first part of this series will be available on DVD and Blu-ray in Japanese and English dub from Funimation starting September 17th. So get your pre-orders in now. Okay, moving on to some other people real quick. Sentai Filmworks, aside from having the best booth and not to mention having the epic take in the front, they announced some acquisitions. Of course, they have the House of the Dead OVA. That's going to come out on Blu-ray and DVD. Obviously, Girls und Panzer because of the tank. And a series that when it first came out, I was laughing so hard because it's so bad it's entertaining. It's so bad it's good. And of course, I'm talking about Nakaimo. That's going to be out on Blu-ray and DVD sometime this year. Of course, Sentai also has that deal with Makoto Shinkai's latest work, Garden of Words, which was an incredible piece of work. You guys missed out if you were not at Anime Expo and checking that out. And finally, they also made a deal with Tatsunoko Productions to release their back catalog of 11 different titles. They haven't announced which ones, but given, Tatsunoko's worked on a lot of classic stuff like, Speed Racer and the like, it'd be kind of interesting to see what Sentai brings to the market. Viz, move on to Viz real quick. They announced a couple of manga box sets. One for Bakuman, which is a very fun series. The Bakuman box set's going to include all 20 volumes. That's kind of nice. The other one is a One Piece manga box set, which will contain the first 24 volumes. That's not even close to current, but it'll get you started. Both of these come with a bunch of extras, and they will be available later this year. They also picked up the manga of Dead Man Wonderland, which I think is a lot better than the anime. If you guys remember my review with Michael on it, it was quite entertaining, but I think if I can get him to read the manga, he might change his mind. Probably not, but he might. They did announce that Neon Alley initially was only just on consoles, is now available on PC and Mac, so if you are a subscriber, you can check it out on your computer. They did pick up Gargantia and Blood Lad, which will be available on DVD and Blu-ray later on. Although I think one of their biggest announcements was the reprint of the Ranma 1/2 manga, which was so much fun to read back in the day. And this reprint is going to be printed in the original right-to-left format, and it's going to be in a 2-in-1 omnibus format. So you're going to get 2 for the price of 1. It's a good way to catch up if you've never read it before. And honestly, if you haven't read the manga, you really need to read it and then watch, all, I forget how many hundreds of episodes and all the OVAs and the movies of the series, which is still it's in my top 10 anime series of all time. Which I have to, and on a side note, I believe, in my opinion, the best cosplayer of Anime Expo 2013 was a female Ranma cosplayer. And you can go online, I'll post up a picture during post-show, but it was spot on. She was gorgeous. It worked out perfect. I think that was the most accurate cosplay I've found so far. Aniplex, they had a few things. They kind of promoted, of course, the Aniplex channel. Most of their stuff is available on Hulu right now. All this webpage does is bring all those shows onto one page under the Aniplex banner, so you can check those out. They announced that Maggie is going to get an English dub that's going to stream exclusively on Neon Alley, so for those subscribers out there, you have something to look forward to. They did license Silver Spoon, which is actually the latest series from the mangaka of the Full Metal Alchemist series. I have yet to see episode 1. I did see a trailer for this, and it looks kind of... Well, let me put it this way. If you were expecting something similar to Full Metal Alchemist, you're gonna be sorely disappointed, because this is basically following the day in life of a boy, a regular boy at agricultural school. Yes, I don't know. I have to watch it and let you guys know. And I called this a while ago. Aniplex is going to release a Fate Zero English dub box set. Now, here's where I was kind of wrong, because they initially brought over the Fate Zero box set in the two packs, but they were also $300 to $400 a pop. Yes, I know that's a Japanese pricing. Yes, I know we've gone through this debate left, right, and center. I was hoping that when they added the English dub, that it would drastically bring down the price. And it kind of did, but nowhere near as much as I was expecting. This will be available in two parts. The first part will be available later on this year. Even with the English dub, it's still going to be $150. Just barely out of my price range. So maybe I can wait for a special, save edition or something like that. I'll find out something. Some other quick news. Sunrise, they didn't have much to talk about other than the fact that they are in talks with Funimation to try to re-release some of the old Bandai titles like Cowboy Bebop, which just recently got a Blu-ray box set deal in Japan. You can import it for close to $1,000, or you can wait to see if this deal between Sunrise and Funimation actually works. We'll see. What else we have here? NIS America, they announced they have the rights to the Hanasako Iroha movie, Home Sweet Home. I'm very much looking forward to that. I have yet to see it. I had a chance to watch it a while back, but I'm waiting for the actual official DVD Blu-ray set. And what's funny is that NIS, as of recent memory, has only been releasing subtitled, DVD and Blu-ray. Apparently, the fans have been asking so much that they're going to go back this year and reconsider actually dubbing future releases. I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, because if they come back to, to basic dubbing and they don't do what, say, like Funimation's doing by bringing new talent in, it could backfire in a very bad way. I'm hoping if they do, move forward with going with the English dub, that they do it right. I'd rather them take the Valve route, take extra time, but do it right. Go that way. Kodansha is actually going to launch their own ebooks platform in just a few days on July 16th. Those of you who actually have like their iPad app, you're going to have to buy this new one. This new app, because the apps are not going to be updated afterwards. Once they have their own store, what's the point of, continually backing up all these other ebook platforms? So kind of bad news. But to compensate for that, they are releasing the Attack on Titan manga, and they made the announcement they're going to speed up the release to basically, I think, once a month, if not sooner, to catch up to the official Japanese version. So there is that, but if you actually are a fan of their ebook releases, you may be looking at additional prices in the future. We know A1 Pictures is going to be making an original CG robot series that they want to rival Gundam. What's with everyone, like, why can't people just make like their own series? Why do they have to like one up everybody else? As when you get to those mindset, you become almost vengeful, and things that are made out of vengeance don't really fare all that well. So I give hope to A1 Pictures, see what they can do. For those of you who were actually at the production IG panel, there was something that leaked that shouldn't have been leaked, and I'm very glad it was. It was kind of cool to see, the founder of Production IG up there, the director of Ghost in the Shell, Arise there. It was kind of cool to see what some of the fans were asking back and forth. And there was actually a teaser page out there for an event scheduled for later this year that kind of teased an announcement regarding Psycho Pass. We didn't know if it was a movie or a second season. Well, due to that someone asked a question just the right way during the panel, it was announced that pre-production for season 2 of Psycho Pass is underway. So an official announcement will be, happening very soon, but we know for sure now it is coming. We are getting a second season of the absolutely gory, fantastic, semi-psychological Psycho-Pass. You guys want to check it out if you have not yet. I believe it's still streaming on Crunchyroll. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, very much worth your time. You want to go check that out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So yeah, Miku English. This was part of the Krypton panel, although the website has been up for a couple days beforehand. That if you go to mikuenglish.com, you'll go to a website, and it basically asks for your email address, and you get on a mailing list regarding the upcoming English adaptation of Krypton's Hatsune Miku software. Now, I'm wondering if this is actually something to do, how is it going to be Vocaloid package? Is it going to be a standalone package? We're not quite sure. They just state Hatsune Miku English singing voice synthesizer package. So does this mean we're actually going to get a copy of the Vocaloid software by Yamaha? I'm hoping. They say it's going to be around the same price as Kaito's version 3 package, which was about $175 to $200 US. Given what that software can do, that's a decent price, especially with import prices and whatnot. So that's kind of cool to see how that's coming out. Now, this new package is complete. It has a brand new vocal database from the original voice of Miku herself, Saki Fujita. So those of you who are worried that, we're going to get some different voice actors, some English voice actors to, transfer over. No, you're going to get the actual voice of Miku in English. It should be quite interesting. Couple other things. Studio Trigger. They've been really pushing Little Witch Academia. It's a fun little OVA. I thought it was going to be like a one-off. You can watch it online. They put it on YouTube, English subtitled for free. It's still up there. But they had a panel on Friday, and they made the announcement that very soon they would launch a Kickstarter for episode 2 of Little Witch Academia. They were asking for $150,000, and they reached that within like the first 4 or 5 hours. As I check right now, with 28 days to go, they have over 4,200 backers and who have pledged a whopping $319,016. I myself may have backed this already. I'm sure you guys have as well. So you have at least a month left. Just a little under a month left, I should state, if you guys want to back it. Then, of course, they have, $1 if you just want to donate just $1. If you want to actually get a copy of the Blu-ray, you have a couple options. For $50, you can receive the standard edition Blu-ray version of Little Witch Academia 2. And there'll be a printed version of the art book and a couple other features. But if you want to double that, if you want to pledge $100 or more, you'll receive the limited edition of the Blu-ray, plus a bunch of extra features, as well as a film reel cut from the episode. That's kind of cool. Now, you can go higher, 200, 300, 1,000, 2,000. What's funny is that their highest tier of $10,000, they only had 3 spots. They're already taken. And that was everything that all the other tiers had, plus a visit to Studio Trigger and dinner with the Studio Trigger team, including 2 nights accommodation in Japan. You can also visit the offices of companies such like Ultra Super Pictures and Good Smile Company. Here's the catch, though. You pay $10,000 for all of this. And then in a little tiny asterisk, it says transport costs not included. So you're going to have to pay for your own flight. But once you're there, you can get all this other cool stuff. And that went like that. So it is absolutely insane. I'm hoping that this whole crowdfunding anime thing moves forward. I know you have, like, on one hand, you have all these new projects like Studio Trigger's Little Witch Academia. On the other hand, you have Anime Souls, which allows you to back the DVD and possibly Blu-ray release of classic titles, from back in the day to get a release stateside. And I think that's absolutely amazing. So I like the fact that you're able to pay, albeit a little bit more up front, but you're able to have a closer experience with, producing and getting, this anime and manga, both new and old, directly to you rather than waiting for some company to do a license. It's kind of cool. We've gone through a lot of announcements. On a side note to the Miku English, Sega did announce Project Diva F2, which will be available on PS3 and PS Vita next year. No word yet if it's going to come stateside, but given the fact that Project Diva F1 is not only going to Comic-Con in like a week and a half, so you can go check it out there if you haven't downloaded the demo yet, but it will be available for download on the PSN PlayStation Network, I think August 27th. So I'm hoping if a lot of people buy it and download it, within a year we'll actually get Project Diva F2 as well. It'd be very cool. Okay, well, the last bit that I want to talk about actually wasn't from Anime Expo at all. What I want to talk about is actually a new convention. We've talked about it briefly on this show and also on From Mother's Basement from time to time. I'm talking about Japan Expo USA. And they have announced some great guests already in the past. Like, you already had Yusuke Kozaki, which is actually the character designer of like the Normal Hero series and more recently Fire Emblem Awakening. You also have the composer of like the Grandia series and the Ace Attorney series is going to be there and hosting a concert. That's pretty cool especially for a first year con. And then they dropped a big guest this past weekend. You might have seen it on all the fans that were strewn, all over the place at Anime Expo. I forget how many thousands, if not tens of thousands of fans were actually distributed, outside Anime Expo last weekend. But the big one was a character designer, Yoshiyuki Sadamoto. That doesn't ring a bell. He is one of the most revered character artists of our time, especially because, he was the character artist and mangaka of Neon Genesis Evangelion. He's worked on a ton of stuff for Gainax in the past. He's worked on Fully Cooley. He's worked on Die Buster. He's worked on a bunch of Mamoru Hosoda's films like Girl Who Leapt Through Time, Summer Wars, and even most recently Wolf Children. This guy is all over the place. He's even worked on the Dot Hack franchise, for crying out loud. So yeah, Sadamoto-san is coming to Japan Expo USA. You guys, if you didn't already have a reason to go to Japan Expo, you kind of have one now. And they're not even done yet. They have at least a couple other guests to announce. And they're going to be epic. So I really believe that this is the right way to start a con off the right foot. Now, granted, they do have the backing of Japan Expo, which is in Paris, France, which is the world's largest anime convention. But you know what? They're not going to rest on their laurels. They're going to, bust out the gate, guns blazing. And I think they're going to do a fantastic job. So you guys want to check it out? I know I'm going. It's taking place at the Santa Clara Convention Center, August 23rd through the 25th. Yes, it's coming up soon. It's really not all that expensive. It's very affordable. It's easy to drive to if you actually are in, either North or Southern California. It's going to be just an absolute blast. You guys need to check it out. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for this episode of AniBreak. It's a little bit extended, about 30 to 45 minutes. A lot of stuff to go through with Anime Expo. Next week is going to be all about part 2 of the summer anime season. I want to give you some of my first impressions about the series that have already started. And of course, there's at least, I think, 10 to 12 other series and OVAs and movies that have yet to come out but are scheduled to within the next few weeks. So there's a lot of stuff to watch this season, and a lot of actually look to be fairly good anime, which would be kind of cool. So that's gonna be it. Stay tuned for post show, and we have AniBreak. I'm Jason. Thank you so much for hanging out. See you guys next week. Take it easy.